Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I got a special treat for you guys. So, I ended up testing a lot of different strategies, even some that I didn't really play that much in real life. But online gives you a chance to use cards that you don't have, you know? So, really grateful to God for just giving me, like, so many blessings, including, like, just ways to have access to these kinds of things. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, and He supplies all of our needs according to His riches and glory. There are things that I have that I just never had before. I'm so blessed. Thank you, Jesus. So, I'm coming at you guys with the Trickstar deck profile and replays. I noticed that I really should step up my game on my replays just by basically showcasing the deck list and then showcasing the replays. So Trickstars, you guys, are really slept on. I did not even know that this deck was that insane. When you apply a higher skill level to this deck, it seems like it's so simple, but this deck is very skillful. It's very reactive. There's so many ways to build it and play it. It's actually really good. Like, I'm going to show you these replays where I was just flat out just waxing decks, just clean cut, waxing them 2-0, you know, against really strong aggressive decks that normally Trickstar should not technically be able to keep up with. I didn't get to pull off my win con that I built in this deck. I'm going to showcase it, and I'll talk about the combo too. So I'm going to hit decks. Here's my Trickstar list. So I'm going to go over the list. Some of these things you guys may not agree with, but I love my list and how it works. This deck is actually really strong, and I have my reasons for playing the cards that I play, because there's actual plays and combos that I basically made up just by using these cards to interact with each other. So I'll explain as we get there, but we're starting off with 2 copies of Nibiru. My hand trap lineup is just 2 Nibirus, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and 2 Effect Veilers, and 2 Ghost Mourners. Ghost Mourner is probably the most beneficial for this deck's playstyle outside of Droll, because this deck thrives in consistent damage output over the duration of the turn. Whether it's a slow paced game, if you're having higher tempo, you know, no matter what, through the progression of the game, one thing you can count on Trickstars to do is get consistent damage. And that is the game plan. It's not really just setting up negates, making sure your opponent can't play. The ultimate goal is for your opponent's life points to hit 0. That's why FTKs are still good. You know, that's why anything that can get your opponent's life points to 0 is always going to be effective, no matter how it's happening or no matter how it's done. As long as your opponent is hitting 0 life points, you're going to win that duel, period. That's the basic win con, you know. And this card really helps out with this deck with the burning, because it actually does burn when the monster leaves the field. So another cool interaction that this has is obviously with your Trickstar cards themselves, because you're getting so much burn damage off of them, and you can basically Ghost Mourner one of your opponent's cards before they link off with it and get extra damage in. So it puts them in a pinch where they might not be able to make an Axis Code Talker play or a Needle Fiber play, just for the simple fact that you can Ghost Mourner, for example, Fiber, and then if they debate on the link cross or not, they're taking 15, which is clean cut for me. So the hand traps I'm explaining earlier: 2 Nibiru's, 2 Ghost Mourners, 2 Veilers, 3 Ash, and 3 Imperm. It's quite a few, 3, 6, 10, 12 hand traps, but this deck, because its engine's so compact, very similar to Soundman Grades and Sky Strikers, it doesn't need every card in the deck to be Trickstar, but I am playing basically pure Trickstars. So for the Trickstar monsters, I played 3 Corbanes. Corbane is a problem solver. Before, this deck wasn't as aggressive as it could be, but this card just solves a lot of problems. It gives you tempo swings, it allows you to get extra damage pushes, and it gives you a free body on field. And something that I really value about this deck is its recursive elements that I really was sleeping on myself until I played the deck more and more and realized how good this deck is at maintaining its resources. We have 3 copies of Candina, one of the strongest Stratos-like cards in the game. It's not once per turn, and there's no restriction on what you can search, and its burn damage increments are very impactful against the decks that this deck thrives against. Well, not really just this deck, with the decks that Light Stage and Candina are good against, you can get easy damage pushes by your opponent simply just playing their strategy the way that it's supposed to be played, because they thrive off spells and traps, like for example Sky Strikers. Then we have 3 copies of Lycris. This card and Lilybell are probably my 2 favorite Trickstars. That's my family in the background, you guys. So my 2 favorite Trickstars in this list, you know, Candina is insane, but the ones that I use the most for interacting with each other a lot of the times are Licorice and Lilybell. These are how you normally get those OTKs in the middle of battle phase. When you have a simplified game state, and this deck is really good at simplifying the game state, your damage pushes are going to come from Lilybell and Lycris. Why do you play 3 Lilybells like 3 stacks? Oh, everybody only plays 1. You're only supposed to play 1. That's the standard. That's the rule. That's against the law. Nobody's supposed to break it. No, 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 no. I played 3 Lilybells. If you guys notice, the reason why I played 3, it's also part of my win con, but what I really love about this card is its secondary effect is not once per turn. I need that for my grind game. I need Lilybell to be able to get that guaranteed attack directly unless they impermit, which is fine, so that I can keep recurring my resources. One of the coolest interactions with Lilybell is when you have a Lilybell engrave and a Lycanroc engrave. You basically can go Lilybell, attack directly for 8, burn for 2 off light stage, effect, add Lilybell, effect of Lilybell to special summon herself, attack directly again, your opponent's going to take another 1k, and then you use her effect to basically add the Lycanroc from grave to hand, then you use Lycanroc to tag one of the Lilybells back into your hand, special her, and attack again. And you have the Lilybell in your hand for a follow-up, so if that Lilybell and that Lycanroc, you could just link those off into a Holy Angel or anything you want. Next turn, you can do the same thing, basically getting a guaranteed 2k to the face because Lilybell attacks directly, and you recur the Lilybell basically off the Lycanroc. So you're doing this really cool loop every turn, where as long as Lilybell can attack directly and resolve, you're getting 2 cards back over and over and over, which is really strong. So I really like Lilybell a lot. She's one of the best, if not the best Trickstars. Probably it is the best Trickstar in late game. Candina's strong too, but you run out of targets in deck and they start to end up in the grave. So I really love Lilybell. You guys will see replays where Lilybell is shining. I'm not changing it to 3. You guys have to try it first before you knock it. I will say that. And then I'm playing 3 Desires. I was thinking about Extravagance, but I actually do care about my extra deck. So I went with Desires. It's a bit more risky, but at the same time, it's still a +1. The 1 Terraforming and the 1 Light Stage, this card is just so insane, you guys. If only it was at 3. If only it was at 3. Because this deck is really, really good, you guys. I didn't think it was this good. And after playing it and applying my skill level to it, oh, goodness gracious. This deck is just so insane, you guys. Like, it's really, really strong. Like, man. Light Stage is such a strong card, you guys. And then I'm also playing 3 Live Stage. Now, this is a card that's so slept on and not even played. You guys are going to see in my duel replays just how good Life Stage is. This card is incredible. It's basically what Light Stage is, but from graveyard on activation. It's just like Lilybell. It lets me recur. That's really important for my grind. Hi, my love. So even in top deck mode, if you top deck Life Stage or Lilybell, you just start snowballing out of control, which really can happen in a simplified game state, where you can just go Light Stage, recur Lily, Lily, recur a Lily, and then Lily, recur a Lycanroc. It's just insane, you guys. Or if you don't want to normal your Lily, you could just go Life Stage, recur Lily, because she's added to your hand except by drawing. You special her by adding her from grave to hand special, attack directly, use her effect, add Candina from graveyard to hand, main phase 2 normal Candina, and get your engine back online. And you do that all off 1 card. The best effect besides its first best effect, it's just everything about this is good, is I'm playing pure Trickstars, so this restriction doesn't really matter when I use this effect. You get 2 token generations off of this. You can only summon Trickstars the turn you use it. That's fine, because how I'm getting a lot of my win conditions off is by using Trickstar cards anyways. And I like Holy Angel, which actually gets really good burn damage. I love the Holy Angel, well, not love, like I'm exaggerating. I haven't loved them yet. I'm still learning to, I'm still falling in love with these cards. So the Holy Angel, the Crimson Heart, the Divaduras, and also the Bloom. These all are able to be utilized in tandem with the Life Stage, and something really awesome about the Life Stage is it gives you the level 1 or lower token for Bloom, and Bloom is actually really, really strong. You guys, you can finish your opponent off so fast with the Life Stage. When you've got a push and you're in main phase 2 and you're like, dang, I still couldn't finish my opponent off, I got a lot of damage in, you can use the Life Stage interactions. What you can do, for example, is basically link off your 2 Trickstars that you use for that play I was talking about into Holy Angel, and then activate Life Stage. As long as your opponent has a card in their back row, basically, you get to get the secondary token. So you use Life Stage, summon a token. Effect of Holy Angel, burn, because the Trickstar's no more special to her zone. Burn for 2. And then Life Stage again, because they have a back row, special summon, burn for 2. That's 400. Then you link those 2 tokens into, for example, if you play 2 Blooms, this is where you get even more damage, because you link one of those tokens in a Bloom because it's a level 1, burn for 200 again. Then you can link into another Bloom, burn for 200 again. Then you can link both those Blooms into a Crimson Heart, burn for 200 again. and then you can just use the Crimson Heart, for example, to just get basically Desires, which is really just a +2. So there's so much you can do off one life stage, you guys. This card is so strong. You like I can say for anybody that's gonna be condescending or who wants to basically bash this just because they think it's not good. If you think something's not good, it doesn't mean you don't. It doesn't mean that you know something's not good. So I will say don't knock it until you try it. And if you try it, make sure you use it right. Otherwise, you're not going to like it because you're not using it correctly. We already talked about the Imperm. Then for the remainder of the list, I played 3 Reincarnations. This card is so insane because it plays around cards like Evenly Matched. When your opponent searches crucial combo pieces, you're banishing them. It takes away impactful 1-ups out of the game. It's so insane when your opponent is activating ritual spells and fusion spells. You can force them to fizzle if the cards they draw for reincarnation aren't able to be used. So this card has so many interactions where it's better than what it just looks like on pen and paper. It's just insane. Nothing's once per turn. You get so much extra damage pushes off of this. You easily get recursion just using this to special Candina from grave, and then use Lycoris to bounce Candina, summon Lycoris, then normal summon Candina and get her search off. And that's just special Lilybell. Lilybell add from grave. You just plus so much in this deck in the simplified game state, and even in low resources you get a bunch back. And I do main deck 3 Lost Winds and 3 Crackdowns. This deck's very reactive, and I like these because I can even lose the dice roll going second, and these cards are really helpful for this deck strategy because big monsters and huge combo decks can really be a problem for this deck. So I like cards like these. These just really help to keep my opponent at my whim. So the extra deck is 1 Avermax, 1 Access Code Talker, Unicorn. Selene is here because I use Needle Fiber with my hand traps to go summon basically a Feg Veiler, and then use Selene to then reborn the Feg Veiler so that I can then go into a card like Access Code Talker. It's just really good, you guys. The Holy Angel and the Crimson Heart, I explained these are super strong by themselves even without Light Stage. They really help you to finish your opponent off in main phase 2 or just rebuild your resources with Crimson Heart. I play Phoenix. I do play 3 of the Charmers because this deck has a lot of extra deck space, so these Charmers can easily be used to turn into bigger pushes. And because I can basically go into these of my own whim, whether I'm using Phoenix to make this or Cerberus to make this, or I'm using Ash Blossom to make this. This card basically can also be made because fibers are water. So there's just so many ways that you can make these cards, but also respectively in the matchups that they're good against, they're good. And then I also played the Dividaris. This card's really good too. Again, just more burn increments that I want to finish my opponent off. My other win condition is burn damage. This is how TRICKSTARS are supposed to be played. Why do you think all their cards burn? That's their win con. It's burn damage. You can call it cheesy all you want, but this is how the deck's played. Cerberus, Fiber, IP Masquerena, and this should be bumped to 2, honestly. The 2 Blooms, just because when you do the life stage play, you can summon Bloom off both the tokens 2 times, and then link both the Blooms off into another Trickstar Link monster, which is just insane, you guys. Oh my goodness. And if you could summon Link Cross the same turn, that would be nice, but no Link Cross right now. So the side deck, you guys are going to see, this is where it gets really awesome for my side deck, because this is one of the funnest win conditions. It's so cheesy where you pull this off. I'm playing 3 Drolls, 3 Where Art Thou. I'm so confident in my engine that I can go second without side decking. That's how confident I am with this deck, and you guys will see in the replays, it does happen. So with the 3 Where Art Thou, 3 Sex, how are you even resolving this? How are you getting a level 1 up? I'll explain this to you very simple. So we're going to go back to life stage. Effect Railers 1, 2. We're going to go back to life stage. Life stage allows me to summon a Trickstar token, which is a level 1. I can resolve Where Art Thou. How do I get that token out? Well, this is why I also, another reason why I played 3 Lilybells is because I could easily normal Candina, special this, or just normal this, however I want to get it out, it's getting out, link it into Bloom, and then I can activate Live Stage, and then add this from grave to hand so it's paid for itself, and then use Live Stage to summon a level 1 token, activate Where Art Thou, and search my Droll. Why is Droll so good in this deck? Because Droll in tandem with Present Card, Disturbance Strategy, Reincarnation, and the Trap Tricks is an FTK. I'm basically going to take my opponent's hand away from them in their draw phase or standby phase. With all these 9 plus these 12, and the fact that this is searchable off Candina, I don't even have to wait for my opponent to search to use Droll. I can activate one of these, and then on resolution, activate Droll, and then chain Reincarnation, or any one of these, and they won't be able to draw, so it'll resolve the most of the effect that it can resolve, and they lose their entire hand in their draw phase. I can OTK with this deck too. So my win con when I go first, and this also plays around dang near every side deck card I can think about except Red Reboot, because this is all happening in the draw phase. Sure, my opponent can chain Ash Blossom to one of these, but the odds of me having more of them are very high, seeing as it's basically dang near my whole side deck. So as you guys can see, my entire side deck, which was my idea, you don't have to do this, was when I go first, I'm FTKing my opponent. So now I'm going to go to some replays. So replays, I'm going to TRICKSTARS. Let's go TRICKSTARS versus Muskets. I got some against Musketeers, Invoke Shaddolls, an Earth Machine combo deck, and Dinosaurs. So we're going to go Muskets first. So as you can see, here's my opening hand. I have Corbane, Lycoris, Nibiru, Lost Wind, and Live Stage. This card is insane, you guys. I'm telling you guys right now, Live Stage is such a good card. His opening hand, if he's going first, I think it's good to have the strike going first, but his hand is kind of conflicted because he has going first and going second cards. But at the same time, this also means that no matter where the dice roll lies, he has some kind of way to interact with me, guaranteed pretty much. So I'm going to press play. As you can see, he made me go first. Either he made me go first or I think I won the dice roll. But I think he was probably going to make me go first. So what I do is I just normal Lycoris, I set my Lost Wind, and I pass. My starting up with this deck sometimes is very simple, and then it turns into sometimes a bit complicated, but it's always fun. So he summons his Musketeer monster, the only one he has right now, which is unfortunate. I activate Lost Wind, and I think what happened here was he was activating the effect of Max based on the spells and traps that I have. I think he wasn't going for monsters, because what happens is I Lost Wind, he last stands to negate the Lost Wind, then the Max fizzles. So I think it's because the effect he chose was not based on monsters, it was based on spells and traps. And since this chain is still resolving, once he activated Last Stand, it negated and destroyed it. So when everything resolves backwards, Last Stand negates and destroys this, which means there's no more spells and traps there for Max to capitalize off of. The way Max works is you can't just declare spells and traps and then change it up and be like, oh, now I declare monsters. So I believe he declared spells and traps, so therefore his Max fizzled. And he has to pass with the Solemn Strike face down. So here is where it's going to get interesting. You'll see. I go straight to battle phase because I play muskets. I know how they work. I know they need a musket on field to play their cards from hand. I don't know what his hand is, but I also don't want to lose to Cross Dom, Desperado, and other things like that. I'd rather force them out right now than rather than be used against me when I don't want them to be. So I try to force out whatever I can. The main phase 2 has summon Corbane. I link in a Holy Angel. This is where you guys are going to see one of my favorite plays of this deck. I activate Life Stage, recur my Lycoris, and then I'm going to use both effects of Life Stage. He didn't strike my Holy Angel, which is weird. So I summon a token. This is the play I was talking about. I summon a token off Life Stage to Holy Angel Zone. Then I use Life Stage again, summon another token. And if I didn't do this in before battle phase, this was going to be huge damage against him because Holy Angel's getting bigger and bigger. But anyways, summon both my tokens. I link them off into Dividaris, and then I'm going to get burn increments again. And Diviritis. I keep this up because Diviritis is going to give me more burn damage. Something else that's really cool is this. If nothing happens to these, and they are TRICKSTARS too, so they can be recurred. If nothing happens to these, this is easily a follow-up OTK. So replay ended. He scooped. Obviously, he didn't have a musket, and I do have lethal on board. This might not look lethal, but it is. I'm playing TRICKSTARS, you guys. You guys have to understand how this deck works. That's lethal. So going to game 2. Pause. His opening hand is not that great because he only has one way to trigger his muskets. So this hand's better going second, relying on a card like Max. And as you see, my opening hand, I have Lycoris, Lilybell, and Corbane. Lilybell and Lycoris are like my favorite ones, and I think it's because they allow me to keep my hand filled up, maintaining my resources, and managing them properly. Corbane is really good too, but she doesn't really give me any face value when I resolve her. She's kind of like a neg no matter how you use her, but these cards pay for themselves in one way or another. And I opened a Terraforming, so I'm nice right now. And I have Crackdown. So obviously my idea is to crack down as soon as I see a musket. I will say I forgot to put it on I think it was either normal chain or always chain, because he gets to summon his musket and I don't get to chain Crackdown on the summon. You can activate Crackdown on the resolution if a summon is successful before your opponent gets to activate Instant Fusion, because you do have a quick effect trap. But the game state, I don't think it was the game state didn't recognize it. It was just I didn't press. I think I had ignore chain or something on that. But anyways, I go light stage. I go for Candina. And this is effectively a +2 because Life Stage and Candina paid for themselves. So I'm keeping a 5-card hand while basically getting 2 free cards to fill. That's why Life Stage is so broken. I have Manhunt and Reincarnation. So the idea I have is to hold Reincarnation. Always like to, I'm not that Trickstar player that's going to be trigger happy with Reincarnation. I don't use it if I don't have to. If I feel like it's necessary, yeah, I'll use it. But for the most part, I save Reincarnation for when I feel like my opponent just either searched something really good or is getting to that point when it's time to use it. Trickstar players that I play against oftentimes just shotgun this immediately and give me a better hand than I already started with. You shouldn't do that playing Trickstars. You should wait at least until your opponent resolves like Spell Power Mastery, for example, so you could banish that one of Servant out of the game. That's just one example. So here, as you see, I was not able to crack down on Summon, but luckily he activates Instant Fusion in the Kid Brave zone. I chain Crackdown to it, taking the Kid Brave from him. Here's where my zone placement was incorrect because you'll see what happens. He summons Restrict, he takes back his Kid Brave, brings up the animal, takes my Lycoris. Why don't you summon like your Trickstars in even zones? The reason why I summon my Trickstars in even zones is because most of the time my links point diagonally down this direction. So I don't want to have my Trickstars in the way if I want a further link. So it's just a bad habit that I need to break of putting my Trickstars in these zones here because I know a card like this exists. Even if the deck doesn't play it, you don't know that. So you might as well play around everything that you possibly can play around. So he gets a swing for 16. What he does not realize is even though my game started off simple just by basically Candina for Lycoris, having that crackdown which really wasn't as impactful as it could have been, I have game on board. You guys will see. So I activate my Reincarnation during end phase to take away his hand, and then I have Reincarnation engraved. You guys are about to see an OTK happen, so I'm gonna press play. Normal summon Candina, search for my Lycoris, special Core Bane, I activate Desires. Desires was nice, I got 2 more traps. Battle phase, attack over the anima, then I attack for 2k. And then, of course, Light Stage is getting me extra increments. Then I go Light Stage to special, chain Lycoris to bounce Candina. Lycoris, attack, burn for 2. And even though it's not an OTK on my turn, the ironic thing, and this is one of the most annoying things about this deck, is Lycoris. When you're on low life points, there's really no way to stop it except if you have Imperm and you control no cards during. Nah, you're still gonna. There's no way to stop it. Like literally, this doesn't even activate. It's weird. It's like a continuous ignition effect. It's like a trigger. I don't know how to explain it really, but it's just every time it's gonna happen. So there's really there's no feasible way to play around Lycoris. So as you see, I pass. It's an OK because I put him at 400 and I have 2 Lycoris. Even if I had only 1 Lycoris, which means if something happened to one of these, he's still getting burned for 400 just because he drew for turn. So unless you're skipping your draw phase, you're getting nuked. Like it's game. So he takes the burn damage and that's game. That's one of the funniest things about this deck is stuff like that happens. You might think those burn increments are little, and they are incremental. That's why I say increments. They're little, but they do add up in the long run. So here's a game against Dolls. Invoke Dolls. So I opened Light Stage and Desires. I should have Light Staged first before I Desired, but I will say it's better for him to ask the Desires than the Light Stage, because Desires is not guaranteeing any Trickstar cards, but the Light Stage guarantees Candina. So I still kind of, the way my order was played, it still is more beneficial for me if he has Ash. So I open, obviously, the Light Stage, I go Candina. And when I'm not sure that I'm going to have the necessary follow-ups I need, I don't go for Reincarnation. Even though Reincarnation is a follow-up in itself by Reborn, Lycoris on Candina is a stronger follow-up because now I have a Candina for next turn, which can turn into very big OTK pushes. So I recur my Candina. I have Impermanent Crackdown face down. You guys are going to see how this plays out. He goes Meltdown. I'm like, okay. He's taking burn damage because he's searching. He normals Alistair. I Imperm the Alistair, forcing him to therefore have... And here's something else. It's such a good thing that I'm playing Trickstars and I don't go into my extra deck turn 1. It's not really even good to do that. And it's like, for what? You're playing your main deck until it's time to go for game for the most part. Sometimes you OTK without your extra deck, which is how this deck works. So a Shaddoll Fusion could have been an OTK on me, but I'm playing Trickstars, so this was pretty dead for him for the most part. he could have easily just fused, you know, these two into, like, I don't know, like a window with the Shaddoll Fusion, but instead he super polys me, discarding Shaddoll Fusion, using my Lycanroc and his Alistair to go into Mega Ball. And he has L face down, and he sets it. He sets the L, you guys. I would at least wait until I at least got through my battle phase. At least through my battle phase before I set the L. Because when I'm in battle phase, I could still potentially use L, fuse with Windy, and the Mechaba to go into Construct. And even though Mechaba's a 1 negation, I'd rather start getting my engine online, getting my resources built up, than have 1 negation. I'd rather help myself than hurt my opponent whenever I could choose to, you know, the difference between. Because sometimes helping yourself will end up hurting your opponent anyways. So I would have held this in my hand, went into battle phase, and then when I cracked down that Mechaba, it would have fizzled because I could chain El Shaddoll Fusion to the activation and targeting and fuse with Windy and Mechaba, which would basically allow me to get Construct and get my aerial combo up. So it's kind of like full combo if you think of it. But he chose to set his El Shaddoll Fusion, which ended up being kind of his demise if you think of it. Because I immediately activate Light Stage, and he has the option to summon Winda, but I think he just doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep everything that he has, because this could still be a follow-up play in itself, but I immediately target this with Light Stage, and then here you guys are going to see something crazy happen. Not crazy, but something really cool for TRICKSTARS to do. So I search out Lycanroc. I'm going to get some pushes here. Then I'm going to activate Lycanroc, bounce my Candina, attack again for 16, burn, and burn, baby. That's going to get sent. Look what's happening here, you guys. He's getting put in the danger zone. He's on a 1-turn clock. Why is he on a 1-turn clock? I have Lilybell and double Light Stage in my hand. As you guys see, I neglected to use the Light Stage. I neglected to use it. Also, by turning off the Light Stage, I basically give him access to L. But I neglected, so I put him on a 1-turn clock, and I have Ghost Mourner, which means I also can potentially get some burn damage on his butt. So he normal summons Alistair. He's gonna take some burn. He decides to be way too reckless. He goes into Purgatrio to get a greedy damage push that was not game. If you are not going for game, do not make Purgatrio your only play for that turn. So I'm going to press play. He's basically going to burn one of his Alistairs, getting more greedy, trying to get an extra damage push that he didn't need. I would have kept both my Alistairs in hand. Because my follow-ups are important. To me, at least, they're important. So he breaks my board that wasn't even a board. And then it's going to get really, really nasty. I'm going Life Stage. I'm recurring both the TRICKSTARS that I needed from grave. As you can see, there's no more TRICKSTARs left in my grave. Then I normal Candina. This is the danger zone right here for my opponent. So I'm searching Lilybell, if I'm not mistaken. Did I search Lilybell? Yeah, wait. Let me go previous. Oh, okay, that's what it was. I already had Lilybell in hand. Never mind. Normal Candina, search for Corobane, activate Corobane. I don't even need to use her effect for the push in damage. You guys are going to see what's going to happen here. Special and special, link in the Nightmare Cerberus, pop that, and just go to battle phase. Very simple, game. So here, let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, his opening hand's kind of nice because he has Incarnation. He side decked Border against me too, so he just goes Border, set Incarnation, pass. His hand is kind of like but he has a doll and he has Alistair, so his engine can be turned on immediately because this in tandem with this for the grind game can be really, really beneficial for him. My opening hand, as you guys see, I sided in my Drolls. I sided in my Drolls for that interaction that I was talking about, and also because Droll is actually really good against Invoke when they start with Terraforming or also even Meltdown. And also because their Shaddoll card still, you know, can capitalize off of Beast and Hedgehog, Droll's not that terrible against Invoked Shaddolls. So as you can see, my opening hand's Incarnation, Lost Wind, Droll, Ash, and Valor. I might not have any Trickstar monsters, but I have 5 ways to interact with my opponent. I top deck the Crackdown. So now that I have Crackdown in my hand, this Inspector Border doesn't even matter to me. So I'm going to press play. You see what he draws into? He draws into Invocation. He got really lucky with that one. That was pretty nice. So he goes Invocation. I then chain Reincarnation. This is what I was talking about with Reincarnation. Hold yo Reincarnations. Hold them. So now I'm trying to see if I can get this invocation to fizzle, or at least force it to resolve, which might mean he has to get rid of Inspector Border. Who knows? But he got so lucky. He drew into another Alistair off the reincarnation. So now you guys are going to see reincarnation take place, summoning Mechaba. And then once he summons the Mechaba, my idea that I have is to go Crackdown into the Inspector Border, so that if he tries to attack over the border, I can just use Lost Wind and Damage Step and make him lose his entire board, and I still haven't committed any of my monsters. So I'm using my opponent's cards against him right now. So it's kind of like he's losing to himself because of how I'm using the cards. His one effect that he gets because he has a fusion up now is Veiler. He unfortunately cannot chain Mechaba on the Veiler. Reason being is because Inspector Border's up, and that's how it works. Even if it's negated, it still counts towards the total for that turn. So press and play. I Veiler his Alistair, keeping the game state simplified, and that was my one opportunity to do so. I hold my Ash for cards like Meltdown and Desires, and shut off Fusion, things of that nature. So continuing. He goes to attack. I use the Lost Wind just like I was talking about. He's losing more of his cards because I'm using them against him. So I'm going to keep this Inspector Border for a while, you guys. I had an idea to tribute summon for Corbane, and I was like, no, I'm keeping this this Inspector Border. And the irony to it here is now he's losing to his card that he tried to use against me. Crackdown's awesome. So he opens Terraforming. He's nice. I can't ash him because there's no extra deck monsters out or rituals. So he searches his final Alistair because one of them's banished off Incarnation. Then he goes normal Alistair. As you guys see, he linked into Almirage so that he can get his Invoker to resolve. But he don't know that I've been sitting on 3 hand traps just waiting for his butt. And I also got to recur my Lost Wind off Almirage. I couldn't do it off of a Fusion, but I can do it off Almirage. Press and play. So now, simplified game state yet again, and he's still unable to get over his Inspector Border. My Lost Wind is now online, and I just drew into Lycoris. It's starting to shift into my favor. I normal Lycoris. I declare an attack on Almirage. My idea is to get him to chain Almirage so I can redeclare an Alistair. And I'm going to keep that Droll. I'm going to keep that Lost Wind. He gives up. I think he realizes that there's just no way out of this. The Inspector Border was his downfall. So now I'm going to go to Earth Machine. Well, actually, let me go to Dino real quick. I'll make Earth Machine the last one. This Dino deck, I'm going to exit out and try to go into that again. Dinos. There we go. So as you can see, this is a different kind of Dino deck. He's playing Concealing Light. I think his idea is to basically use Conductor without Conductor. I feel like that's overkill because Conductor on a miscellaneous source is still going to pretty much guarantee that effect happens. But at the same time, this can bait negates before he even does that, so it's justifiable. His deck's just different, it's different, and there's nothing wrong with that. My opening hand is Lost Wind, Crackdown, Terraforming, Live Stage, and Candina. Hey, babe.
Salad?
Yeah, I would like a salad, thank you.
Because I'm about to cook dinner.
Okay, what you making for dinner?
Fish.
What kind of fish?
Fried fish. Same as the one you had last time.
Can you grill it for me, or bake it? I don't want it fried, babe.
Yeah, the one that I have, I'll bake it for you. I already have
Thank
that
you.
in my mind.
Alright, I love you. Give me my kiss.
So I'm making fried fish, and then I'll make you the other fish. Remember the other one?
Yeah, I don't know the name.
But yeah, I got you, my love.
Alright, so I'm gonna press play. Go ahead, babe.
Potatoes and broccoli.
Okay, I still got my leftover adobo too.
Still.
Yeah, I didn't eat nothing today. Press play. So here, I have a way to bait the Ash. He ashes the Terraforming. He probably was going to ash the Light Stage, so either way it was going to get ashed. But at least if he ashes the Light Stage, I have Light Stage up. I go Candina for Lycoris because I want to keep my follow-ups. If you don't have any other follow-ups, you should always... Basically, really, let me reword that. If you don't have a Lycoris in hand with your Candina, you'd better search that Lycoris so that you can recur Candina for your next turn. This is a very simple, common sense play that everyone should always keep in mind when playing TRICKSTARS. You always want to hold your follow-up Candina, because like I said, this card can turn into an OTK for your follow-up, especially when you have cards like Reincarnation Engraved, and you have Trickstar names engraved, because then you could just normally search out Lilybell, and you're going for game. I have Manhunt, Crackdown, and Lost Wind, so I have 2 ways to interact with him. He unfortunately has 2 Lost Worlds, so he kind of opened up his more bricky cards, his one of Olo, and also his double evolution pill. He activates Lost World, and I'm just waiting for him to normal summon a Dino so I can use Crackdown or, Lost Wind depending on if it's special summon or not. But he has to pass because he bricked. So, this is where it's going to get kind of interesting. I'm going to normal summon Candina and search out my light stage because I want to try to target some of those back rows and get them out the way because I don't want to lose to any if I don't have to. So I activate light stage. I'm going to add another Lycoris, target this back row, which was the last one he said and not the first one. Then I'm going to use Lycoris to recur my Candina. I get a little bit of damage push in there. I'm keeping my resources up, and notice how I'm just not using the life stage because I don't have to. I hold my life stage for when it's time to go for game because this is a very aggressive card. And this is TRICKSTARS, you guys. Oh yeah, he summoned Conductor, my bad. I didn't even realize. He summoned Conductor, getting rid of his Jet Synchron. That's very interesting that he didn't use the Jet Synchron for a combo. Because he could have just normal Jet Synchron and discarded the Lost World. That's very interesting that my opponent chose not to do that. Because at least the Jet Synchron, the combo for Needle Fiber and everything, would have at least baited one of my interruptions. But he just went straight up into Conductor. I think he's just like, I want Conductor now. So press and play. On summon of Conductor, I have to crack down it. Otherwise, I lose my opportunity to target because Lost World's resolving. And I have this Conductor now. This is game, by the way. So I'm just going to normal Candina, search out another Lycoris, link the token and the Conductor into Phoenix, pop that, go into battle phase, attack. Burn damage off light stage really adds up. Every increment counts, you guys. This deck is pretty cool. And honestly, when you just stretch your cards and try to get the most out of them, that's where you're playing TRICKSTARS in that range that you want to play. It's like how I play Shaddolls. I try to get the most that I can. As you can see, this guy is playing just some very strange cards. Outside of the fact that his deck is 50, which is fine. I play 60 card decks and they work. But he's just playing some strange cards. He's playing Quaking. I think he's just really like trying to capitalize too much on the kind of effect that Conductor has. He's playing Concealing, Quaking, Waking the Dragon. Now I will say this could be a problem if I have a back row removal for it. He has Called By and 2 Babies. But he's just going to set those back rows and pass. I'm so glad that I didn't trigger this Waking the Dragon the whole duel, because that could have been a problem. Not to say that I can't get over it because of Corbane, but still. So let me swap around. To me, I open double Desires. I do Desires first because my hand's not really that strong. And as you can see, my Desires banish a Candina, one of my 3 Lilybells, a Reincarnation, and a Corbane. So I didn't lose anything because I have backup copies of all those cards. And the hand traps I banished, they don't really matter. If they're not in my hand, they don't matter. So I have 2 Crackdowns, an Imperm, double Lycoris, and I have a Desires that I'm probably not going to use, but I think I end up using it anyways. I'm going to battle phase. I attack directly with Lilybell, then I get greedy for damage. I target this and chain Lycoris again, bouncing both to my hand, and then I use Lilybell. This is where I got greedy, but see, I wasn't playing around Quaking Mirror Force because this is not a conventional card. This is where he uses it, and he stuns me for a bit, because me losing those 3 zones is what hurt more than losing those TRICKSTARS, because I can still like tribute some of them for Corbane and stuff, but these 3 zones, you know, it makes it to where I can't really summon that many monsters. I top deck a Lost Wind and set it. We're kind of just in a simplified game state here. I keep drawing interruptions, and I'm just setting them. So I have a full back row of 5 interruptions. Imperm, Crackdown, Lost Wind, Crackdown. So it's looking really good for me because I'm thinking the moment he starts to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I have 5 ways to disrupt his butt. Even if he miscellaneous sources, I can get him in battle phase with any of those. He fossil digs, speaking of, for miscellaneous ores. I can't use any of these now. So he summons Adamant Thorn, he pops his Baby Ceratosaurus. This is a 2-card combo, but I don't know what he was, what was going through his mind when he did this. He searches Dirac Aeolo. Very weird. This Dino player was just, I don't know if it's mean to say this, but this Dino player was just not the best. But I'm just gonna Lost Wind his Oviraptor, so when he declares an attack on Lycoris, that way I can keep my Lycoris and now it's face up so I can start burning his butt. I top deck a light stage, I'm nice. And then I target this back row right here, which is the pill. So you guys see how he searched the pill and set it. Did he set any other cards in his back row that turn? No. So you therefore know it's the pill. Pill is a really, really scary card, especially against all these face down defense monsters and this defense Lycoris. So I light stage his pill, so he's gonna lose his pill. And then as you guys see, I got a big Reckless. I resolved my second Desires. And I should have at least did Candina first, but I just didn't play it in the right order. And then I go Candina, I search out my Lycoris, I bounce my Lycanroc because I see the targets I still have left in deck. I attack over his Oviraptor, and then I set my Lost Wind and pass, and he loses his pill. He does top deck another Archosaur though, so whew, man. He Dark Ruler no more to me, which is weird, because it's like, what kind of searching are you gonna do that you're gonna need, you know, to not be burned for? It's not like I'm gonna burn you to death. So that was just very weird. He Dark Ruler no more is literally a summon Link Reroll. So then I start to realize this is not the most challenging opponent. So I get aggressive, and this is where it's time to go for game. I don't know if it was because I got impatient, but I will say, let me swap around. It was just that time. So I cracked down his Link Reroll to get that out the way. Linked off my defense Lycanroc that couldn't be changed into Phoenix, and I popped the right back row, not the Waking the Dragon. Then I light stage his Waking the Dragon, which it's okay because this is a game. And then, as you can see, I linked my Lycanroc and the Phoenix into a basically a Nightmare Unicorn. I searched the reincarnation off Candina because I'm gonna use it this same turn because I'm going for game. Then I target his face down because I know what these are, but I just target his face down because it's unknown. I don't target this because it's under light stage. Discard the reincarnation. It's about to get really, really good. Then I crack down his baby Ceratosaurus. I use two of his monsters for my link plays. This is why Crackdown is just super good, especially in a deck like this where sometimes you just don't have those resources available. You just take them from your opponent. Then I made Access Code Talker. This is where you can clearly see its game. And then I attack. Boom. So now I'm going to go into the game against Earth Machine. So my opening hand is Reincarnation, Lycanroc, Triple Hand Trap. This is a really good hand because I have Lycanroc and a way to recur her. And top deck mode in this deck is really nice because top decking any one of my 3 Lilybells, my 3 Candinas, my 3 life stages, or my terraforming or my light stage could easily turn into super duper crazy follow-up plays and a really, really good aggressive standpoint. So I'm gonna press play. I get to go first. I normal set 1 and pass. Oh, this looks very simple. This doesn't look like it's much. Well, he activates Scrap Recycler. I Veiler it. He activates Darkrane. That's where I see my opportunity to reincarnate it, because Darkrane's kind of big too, and I want that effect to fizzle so he can't get easier monsters on board. Then he draws in a triple redeployment. This guy was nice, but he drew a Scrap Golem. And he has Citadel, so this could be a huge problem, you guys. Pressing play. He takes 1k off of that fat reincarnation. Then he goes redeployment, pitching it, and I ash it. I still have my Nibiru in hand, even though it's a simple game state. I top deck life stage.
You want me to bring it to you?
Oh, what, the salad? Oh no, babe, I'm gonna eat it after.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put it in the fridge without no dressing on it.
Okay, thank you, my love.
In the Tupperware for you.
Alright, thank you, babe. So, let me go to previous. I top deck life stage. I attack his recycler, and he doesn't use Citadel. This is baffling. This is baffling. But I think the reason why he didn't do it, to be honest, is because he wanted to get the better effect of redeployment, which was to basically get 2 different Machina cards instead of only monsters. So I see what he was thinking. Press play. He takes burns. Like, this is, oh goodness gracious, Lycanroc is so good, you guys. So he takes a burn from his top deck. He's just slowly burning to death. He redeployments, discarding his Citadel. Ooh, excuse me. This is where he gets punished by Nibiru. So you guys are going to see how it plays out. He gets a 2-card combo. Boom, boom. He's about to go Perimeter, and I love Perimeter in Machinas. This card's just so good for your grind game. And also, it has targeting protection as well. This card's just super strong, you guys. So continuing, I'm going to press play. He's going to bring back the Mega Form that he searched, or I think it was I'm not sure. Then he brings out his Citadel. He recurs his Recycler as well, then he normals it. So this is where you guys can see, he's just starting to snowball out of control, out of nowhere, off of that redeployment. Then he searches the Express Bullet off Metal Crunch. As soon as he summons it, I'm Nibiru, because I'm thinking like, okay, he could summon like Appaloosa. Well, that wasn't in my mind, but he can, so that's absolutely correct to do anyways. Anytime you've seen 4, if your opponent's over 5 summons and you've seen 4, you have to Nibiru, because the offset chance that they can Appaloosa you. But also, I was also thinking about like that rank 10 thing that like is unaffected by stuff, so I just Nibiru him. The token is super big. In phase reincarnation for Lycanroc, And as you guys can see, I still have life stage. I'm just holding this. Something that I do realize that I could have done was just set Crackdown and take my token back and give it to myself. Even though it can't attack, it's no longer a problem. Then I could have just basically held these cards and held this life stage, and it would have been easier. But here's what I did instead, which I felt I could have still done the playoff somehow. I went Cerberus, discarding the Crackdown to pop the token that I could have used the Crackdown on, you guys. I pop it, then I life stage back my Licorice, use her to normal summon her, and then I attack again, and then I pass. I'm putting them in the danger zone. When you're under 2k with TRICKSTARS, it's very, very dangerous. Like, I would say, once you hit like 1,000 life points, you can be basically like pseudo FTK. He summons Fortress and attacks over my Licorice. I top deck Desires. I normal summon my Ash Blossom. Something else I could have done was done the Needle Fiber play. I did not want to get flashy. When you have game, you guys, don't be flashy. Don't do what he did. Don't play into Nibiru when you don't have to. He could have easily just like slaughtered my board, you know, before even playing into Nibiru and just got massive damage, possibly game. But he chose to do what he did. I'm not going to do the Needle Fiber, Celine, Access Code play. I see his life points are at 15, so I do something very simple. I just use Unicorn to shuffle this, and I attack for 22. That's what a smart player is supposed to do. You don't be flashy when you already have game. Why? Why would you do that? When you're trying to be a show-off, that's when you get punished. So going into game 2, which is the final game, here's my opening hand. I have Manhunt, well, I keep calling it Manhunt. I have double Crackdown, Desires, Ghost Mourner, and Nibiru. Notice how I have not even, you guys haven't even seen a replay where I did that side deck FTK thing. I really wasn't side decking like that. It's just like my deck was good enough already by itself, but I knew when I was guaranteed going first that I could easily side in that cheesy FTK. So you guys are going to see how this plays out. He does double twin, but a lot of the cards in his hand require a discard, so he can easily put himself on way too low resources to even be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that I have a Desires plus 2 hand traps and 2 Manhunts, I mean 2 Crackdown, I keep calling it Manhunt, is really strong. My Desire is going to give me some nice cards, by the way. Boom! I drew Cantina! And then I see that I have the Droll play, so I search Reincarnation. And my idea is to wait for him to activate Redeployment and basically activate Droll and Resolution and chain Reincarnation and FTK his butt. But he has way too many back removals. So I set my 3 back rows and I pass. He top decks Fortress. He then sets his Redeployment, which is smart. He's playing around Reincarnation. Very smart player for doing that. And then he Twin Twisters, targeting my Reincarnation and my Crackdown. I chain Reincarnation because that's my only opportunity to use it. He chains Twin Twister again. Boom, everything fizzles. And then I'm going to Droll on the Resolution of Snap. I think it was Redeployment. Let me check. Yeah, I'm going to Droll on the Resolution of Redeployment. Oh, why would you do that? He only had 1 card in hand. Just in case the 1 card in hand was Metal Cruncher or Gear Frame, I just want to be safe. And also, as you can see, this face down is Redeployment. He was nice, you guys. He really was. But actually, as you guys see, I didn't Droll on the Resolution of Redeployment. I Drolled on my Reincarnation's Resolution. So now he couldn't even activate the Redeployment in the first place. And that could have been a problem. Because if I Drolled after Redeployment, he doesn't even need to search anymore practically. So I feel like even though it was like not that good to do Droll when he only has 1 card in hand, because remember I reincarnated him when he had 1 card in hand because he chained another twin. I was thinking in my mind, okay, all the search cards he could use, I just want to turn those off. Even if the 1 card in his hand isn't that, you just don't want to lose to that 1 offset chance. So he just summons Fortress, attacks over Candina, and I have game on board basically. I put him on a 1-turn clock. TRICKSTARS are so good, they thrive in a simplified game state. So I go Reincarnation to recur my my Candina, and then I normal summon my Mourner, and I go into Needle Fiber, summon my Effect Veiler from deck, and guess what? This is the super funny thing about this. There's exactly 3 spells in the graveyards. The 2 Twin Twisters and my Desires that I activated turn 1. So it was like, this play was just meant to be. I go Celine, get exactly 3 counters, recur my Droll, just, you know, I think Droll is great. Go into Access Code Talker. This card doesn't target, so Fortress is not going to get any of his effects. I pop everything. I pop to 63. Now he's on a 1-turn clock. He has to out this Access Code Talker with 1 card while I have 2 hand traps. He's going to lose. He top decks the Anchor Drill. That's game. Boom. And those are all the replays that I have with TRICKSTARS. So you guys got to see, I won all those games, you guys, and I should have got more, or I could have got more TRICKSTAR replays, but this is the deck list again, you guys. As you guys can see, the cards on my side deck that I ended up using in all those was just Droll, and I didn't even use that much. So as you guys can see, my main deck was adequate enough, and I felt through the back rows and the hand traps and the burn increments from the TRICKSTARS. It's just super good. And again, I really want to state, live stage is really, really good, you guys. It's very helpful for me. It'll be helpful for you guys. This is definitely a way I feel TRICKSTARS should be played, and the way they should be played is by playing multiple Lilybells and not just one. Otherwise, you will not get that juicy interaction I talked about off Lilybell for Lilybell and then Lilybell for another TRICKSTAR. You're getting extra board presence, and you're getting more cards that you want. Basically, that you really not necessarily that you want, that you need from graveyard to hand. Lilybell and live stage are kind of basically gonna do the same thing. And the cute thing is that you can live stage for Lily and then special her and go Lily for a Candina in your grave, and then normal the Candina, and then you get Candina to search Lycoris, then you bounce Candina back to your hand, then you realize you just went plus like 3 off of the top deck of a live stage. So this card is super strong, and the double token generation, most people probably don't care for that because they don't want to summon TRICKSTAR Link monsters. I do want to summon TRICKSTAR Link monsters. I like these cards. I didn't get to use Crimson Heart, but I did. The thought did cross my mind to use it when I did that play with Holly Angel. You guys saw in one of the replays. His life points were super low. I was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna, summon Crimson Heart, which basically, again, I'm gonna summon Crimson Heart. And this is crazy because Crimson Heart and Holly Angel are just gonna get so much burn, So I could have summoned Crimson Heart, got basically draw 2. And potentially drawn into more combo pieces, but I instead decided to go into the Diveritis because I just wanted to burn him more. But honestly, I could have went into this and should have, but again, it's still my opponent getting more cards too is like a problem. So this is a cool thing that you can do when you have Lycoris up and live stage, because as you're doing the burn damage, or just live stage, for example, when you have Lycoris up with live stage, because you use live stage normally to make these cards in one turn, you're using Crimson Heart to trigger Lycoris more, and you're triggering Holy Angel, so you're just like burn for 2, burn for 2, burn for 2, and eventually your opponent just gets burned so they hit 0. So this deck has a really, really cool win condition that's very hard to stop, because a lot of hand traps these days don't really work against these kind of cards. Effect Veiler, yeah, on my turn, but on your turn, no. So I like these cards, and there are interactions you can play around hand traps, where, for example, if your opponent Ash Blossoms your Candina, you can activate Light Stage. If your opponent Effect Veilers your Candina, you can chain Lycoris. This card's not once per turn, so I will say if they have a Cyclone, you just activate another one. The once per turn effects are the token generation. If they were not once per turn, oh my goodness. You would summon like 3 TRICKSTAR Link monsters in the same turn, and those cards are just really, really strong, you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys learned from this. You don't have to net deck this list, but at least take that advice and try out multiple Lilybells and live stages. I really like this card. Whenever you're in top deck mode, which you oftentimes are because your hand traps are all neg 1s really. That's what hand traps are. They're neg 1s that simplify the game state. Lilybell is a card I really need to keep my hand filled. As long as your hand's filled with TRICKSTARS, even if you can't attack your opponent directly, which oftentimes you can because of Lilybell, you're going to get burn damage off cards like Candina and Lycoris, and cards like Holy Angel, Diveritis, and Bloom is a really nice card because you can actually use her to finish your opponent off too. The turn she's Link Summon, you can make your opponent draw a card that triggers Lycoris. And if a face-up star monster this card points to destroy by battle card effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card in their hand. So another cool thing you can do is literally crash a TRICKSTAR that's basically pointing to this card, and then make your opponent take damage for the hand that you gave them. So this is where Crimson Heart and Bloom can work together to give your opponent a bigger hand, just so that you can burn them more, which is really cool. So even though you're giving your opponent's cards, it's going to be game anyways, and that's really, really cool about this deck. I like it. I like my list. It's fun, and I won almost every single one of my games, you guys. Like, goodness gracious. Oh man, but thank you guys so much for watching this. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. I'm gonna say a quick prayer and be out. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus I pray. Thank you, Father. Hallelujah. Amen. Alright, you guys, Deuces is wild, and keep in mind, this is just an experiment that I want to try. It's really, really fun. I wish I could have got a replay where I did it, but I was just so confident in my main deck a lot of the times that I didn't even side into this rarely. But when I know I'm guaranteed going first, I side into this, honestly, you know, because it's just super awesome. And don't forget how the Where Art Thou works. If you guys are ever wondering how are you even getting the level 1 up, again, live stage. Live stage gives you the level 1 token you need. Lily Bell is a card that can easily make bloom so that you could trigger life stage turn 1, and you're also playing Effect Veiler. You can play more of those. You could literally just normal Effect Veiler if you really wanted to that bad. And also another thing keep in mind is that Valkyrie Fibrax and Celine can summon out that level 1 monster as well. So you can also do a play where you can special core bank because you control no monsters, and then normal one of your hand traps, go into Valkyrie Fibrax, and then you can summon out the level 1 you need for Where Art Thou to search out Droll. Once you have Droll and any one of these, your opponent, it's going to be very difficult. They can have an Ash for one of them, but you have to have multiples for it to work anyway. So Ash is going to be nullified, and then you're going to take your opponent's hand away from them in their draw phase. And even if you don't have game right that instance on their turn, you will have game on your next turn because this is Trickstars and they thrive. If there's an open field, you can just attack with Lilybell, attack with Candina, then use Lycoris in battle phase, attack, then use Pre-Incarnation from grave, attack again. If they're still not dead, you go straight to main phase 2 and you summon Holy Angel, then you start summoning cards under her and you continue burning your opponent. This is what the Link monsters do. They finish your opponent off when you couldn't do it in battle phase. So your opponent will be put in a pinch with cards like Diveritis and also Lycoris and Candina, where inevitably they're going to get burned to death by doing actions that their deck has to do to function. Drawing for turn is mandatory unless you have no cards left in your deck, and activating spells and traps for most every deck is kind of mandatory for them to play, and normal summoning and special summoning is integral, so they're getting burned, and when you have light stage, they're getting the extra 200. Peace out, you guys.